it got to the point where I thought I had to get physical with this girl. Girl, when I say I was heated, the level of disrespect, bro. There's like mutual respect that you give to people. She wasn't even giving me that kind of respect. Throwing those tantrums was just uncalled for. What is up, YouTube? Hi, how are y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing good. Y'all, I have been working out the kinks to this story, trying to remember everything because there is so much that I did not tell y'all in part one because I wanted y'all to wait for the anticipation. By the way, if you are new to my channel, I am Quadeja. I call my channel Discovering Q. So if you are watching this, grab your popcorn, get a drink of something, chew on something, because you're gonna be sitting here for a while watching my video. This is part 2 of my story time of my college roommate horror story or whatever. So if you haven't watched part 1, I'll put that link in the description so you could check that out, and then once you finish watching that, then you can come back here. So in part 1, I basically just talked about how the backstory of how I know Lily, basically, and how I've known her before this academic year, so 2021 to 2020 to 2021 came in. So I known her about a year. She was my resident when I was a junior. And of course, I mentioned how I was her RA at the time, and that's how our relationship kind of blossomed from there. I talked about how I seen her at moving day. She had like she didn't even know me. And also I did talk about my situation, my bathroom incident basically that I had with Maya and Lily. Essentially, I basically sum up and said that I moved their things in the bathroom because the bathroom is small, and they really didn't like it. And I basically just talked about that and apologized in that video. Let's just move this thing forward. After the bathroom incident, things just really became surreal. I kind of followed up with a apology email after we had that conversation with my supervisor or whatever. I basically just said this: try to be as nice as possible. Thank you for approaching me earlier tonight about this issue. I truly understand how careless I was with your personal belongings, and if I seem heartless about the situation tonight, I formally would like to apologize. I do understand that our bathroom is a place that we have to share, so if you have any other issues arising regarding me as your suite mate, please feel free to reach out, let me know. I purchased a shower caddy to place in the bathroom, and it should be here Wednesday, August the 26th. And I basically just said like, hey, like, I'm here for support as your RA if you just need to talk about the situation that we were in. So that's why I sent them. When I sent that, I didn't get a response back for them, so I guess they just had to let it sit in or whatever. So obviously I didn't communicate with those girls for a few days. We were kind of just coexisting. The only thing we obviously shared was the bathroom, but I will say occasionally hey to them just to let them reassure that I am your RA. I'm still here for support. What happened doesn't really affect our relationship. That's why I was trying to still let them know that I'm still here for them. It was kind of awkward, but it didn't change how I felt about them. I just wanted the situation to work out for all of us. The only person who obviously responded was Maya. She was the only one who at least tried to communicate with me even after everything that happened. Lily, not so much. I can tell that she was probably still irritated by the situation, but I just kind of let it slide and let it go. Also, I thought that Lily was over it just because we had an app chat. I had an app chat with her. If you watched my last video, I talked about what an app chat was. And we were just having this one-on-one conversation, and she kind of just, just told me everything that was going on in her academic life and her personal life, and it seems like things were cool. And then I also brought up the issue to her again because, like I said, she didn't say anything when Maya confronted me about the situation, and I didn't know how she felt. So when I had that app chat and I asked her, like, so I noticed that you didn't say anything, and like, do you have anything to say now, just so we can freshen the air and stuff like that, just say what's ever on your mind. She looked at me and blinked like 3 times, and we were just sitting there in silence for a good minute. And I'm like, okay, well, like, you know, if something similar like this happens again, don't hesitate to just reach out to me, let me know how you're feeling, and I can, you know, just communicate with me some way. And she was like, okay. So with that being said, and then we had an interaction in the vending machine and stuff like that, I thought our relationship was okay. You know, I thought that things were just going to get better for us. This is just one bump in the road, you know. So in my last, I don't know if I didn't mention app chats in my last video. So app chats are basically just a one-on-one conversation with the RA. It's designed to build a rapport with the resident, and just basically be there for physical and mental support for that resident. These app chats has a series of questions just to tackle into their academic life, their personal life. It's not too personal, but it's just like able to just basically get a sense of how they're feeling and how they're adapting to this new life. When it comes to app chat, I gave my residents 2 options. They either had the option to meet with me in person in my room. Of course, I expressed to them that if they're not comfortable with meeting in my room, we can meet somewhere else, on campus, off campus, somewhere in their room, something that's comfortable to them, because I know some people can feel some type of way about that. And then also I gave some of my residents the option to meet via Zoom. I am aware that most of my residents had experienced some Zoom fatigue, and they preferred to meet with me in person, and they were okay with meeting in my room. They felt totally comfortable meeting in my room. This resident in particular, and just the first issue I had with Lily, as far as Maya, she was experiencing some sickness, so she went home most of the first semester or fall semester. So she decided to just stay home, but also some of her belongings were still there. So I didn't see her that much on my floor at all, and she has informed that to me and let me know what was going on in her situation or whatever. What happened is I was essentially in the middle of an app chat with a resident. This resident has previously expressed concerns with me that she was having suicidal thoughts, she was dealing with depression and other like family issues and stuff, and I honestly wholeheartedly just wanted to be there for her emotionally. So while we're in the middle of having this intimate conversation, I was hearing music in the background, and I suppose like my sweet mate Lily was taking a shower at first, and she was just having her music on blast, and it was very disturbing because it was like, I'm clearly in here trying to have a meeting with this resident and you're interrupting that. But I kind of just ignored it because I'm like, you know, let her do her thing. Music doesn't really bother me. I love music, so she did the thing. And then I heard a knock on my bathroom door, and at first I thought it was just like bumping. So I heard a knock, doot doot, and she was kicking and banging my door, and I was just like, what's going on? Like, at first I honestly didn't think she was knocking on my bathroom door, but I knew it was in the bathroom. I just kind of let it slide, went back to my job attending to this resident of mine, and then the second knock came, and it came twice as harder. So she was knocking, banging on my bathroom door. The loud music was still playing, and then I hear from the top of her lungs she say, "Shut up!" And I'm like, what? Like, I thought she was on the phone with someone or something. I was honestly just concerned because I was like, is she okay? Like, what's going on with her? You know, so I reached out to her on Snapchat because we are friends on Snapchat. So when I reached out to her on Snapchat, I basically essentially said, I'm hearing screaming, I'm hearing yelling, I'm hearing loud music playing on and banging and kicking. Is everything okay? I didn't get a response. So I just assumed she was okay. And then the third knot happened. And it was the same thing, essentially the same thing that was going on. So I was just like, I had enough. I'm trying to have this conversation with this resident, and she's really interrupting this meeting with my resident. So I was like unaware of what was going to happen, unaware of what she was going to say, or unaware that I would be the problem. I went and opened the bathroom door. So when I went to the door and I opened the door, she was standing in the doorway. So it's like she was in the bathroom, standing in the doorway, and she was looking at me. I looked at her like she was crazy, and she was like, so I'm hearing noise above me and hearing noise across from me, and I noticed that you have a guest in your room and you're not supposed to have a guest in the room. And she essentially was just saying blah 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 and stuff like that. She clearly was upset. And I just looked at her, she looked at me. And this girl, by the way, she's like very petite. She's shorter than me, light skinned, just to give you a clear description of who she is. So I could tell she was clearly pissed. And I was just looking at her and I'm like, I'm in the middle of an app chat right now. And I shut the door in her face. Girl, when I say I was heated, because the level of disrespect, bro, there's like mutual respect that you give to people, and she wasn't even giving me that kind of respect. All throwing those tantrums was just uncalled for. When I got finished having my little whatever with her, I sat back down and I bawled out crying. And then, not to mention, my resident is hearing this while everything is going on. So she's seeing me bawling out crying, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I like, you're going through a lot right now, and it's just really rude for me to be crying in front of you, and I'm supposed to be here for you emotionally. And she was like, no, Khadijah, it's fine. The resident was just so sweet, trying to be there with me, trying to comfort me and stuff like that. I'm a sensitive girl, so when she gave me that level of disrespect, of course I cried. Like, I've never been in a situation like that where someone has been that rude to me and doing it intentionally. There are COVID guidelines that we had to abide to as residents, and one of those guidelines involved a no guest policy. With me being an RA though, I gave my residents the option to meet with me in person. So that's the only reason why I had a resident in my room. So I was basically just doing my job, and I basically got yelled at for doing my job from her, which was just uncalled for and disrespectful. As I was crying and as my resident was just basically comforting me, I had end up calling in another RA for emotional support to just help me handle the situation, because I had enough, and this girl was like mentally tolling with my emotions. So I just kind of called in another RA to help. I contacted a coordinator, let him know what happened, and he basically said that was uncalled for, that was unacceptable. We'll get to the bottom to this and we'll resolve this issue. So in the middle of all this was going on, while I was having this conversation with the coordinator, I hear Lily leave out of her room, and she slammed her door hard. It was a hard slam. So I know she left, and I know that she could hear that I was obviously upset about the situation. So the coordinator basically just advised me to just like take some time out to myself. Don't do anything RA related. Don't do anything job related. Just do something that you love to do, just to give yourself some time to relax. The coordinator asked if there was anywhere I can go for tonight besides my room, and of course I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't think of anyone that I could go to spend a night just to relax, so I had to just stay there. So I stayed in my room. And, you know, I went to the gym just to just get out of that vicinity, you know, to just relax. Okay, so in the meantime, like the coordinator ended up contacting my supervisor about everything. He was like, yes, there's definitely need to be a conversation with Lily. We're going to try to get in contact with her and see what we can do. He was like, in the meantime, just like relax and stuff, and we'll try to handle this. And I was like, okay, I felt pretty confident that something was going to happen. But when I found out nothing was happening, that was really making me upset. So this is what happened. So when I had another meeting with my supervisor, he was essentially telling me that he have tried to contact Lily so many times and she just wouldn't respond to her emails, which I totally understand. And that does sound like something Lily would do if she knows she is the person at fault here. But yeah, so it was hard to basically contact her. Everyone was trying to contact her and she just wouldn't respond. Weeks fly by and still no conversation. So things obviously got intense between us. There was moments where she came in and out of the bathroom, like I would say like 3 times in under 20 minutes. And she would normally come in right after I used the bathroom, which I found it really weird. I had this feeling that she was eavesdropping on the conversations I was having with friends and family on my phone. Like, I'll hear her come, like, I'll be on the phone, let's say with my mother or whatever, telling her everything that was going on and what I'm going through, and I'll hear her in the bathroom, and I'm like, wait a minute, let me shut up, because this girl, I think she's listening. I'll be on my phone with my best friend, and the same thing would happen. It got to the point where I just felt uncomfortable talking to people on my phone in my room, so I would either have to go to my car, or I would either have to like go in the lobby and talk to my friends. And yeah, so it was like a little bit of evasion of privacy, and I didn't like it. Like, I really didn't like it, y'all. Another thing that really frustrated me is that I would hear music blasting early in the morning, like 7-8 o'clock in the morning, and clearly I'm still asleep in bed. And when I hear, like, music doesn't really bother me, but when it's like that loud early in the morning, you're being inconsiderate of people who lives around you. And not only that, but I'll hear her talking about me under her breath while she's in the shower. Like, it was clearly loud in here, and she was trying to disguise it with music. And I was like, this girl is really talking about me. Most of the music will be like hate music, like screamo music. And I have nothing against screamo music or hate music or stuff like that. But I will hear her like under her mouth murmuring and also saying, like, it was just like high pitches. She'll be laughing and she would be like, oh my gosh, like, and stuff like that. And it was just kind of creepy for me, and also like concerning a little bit. And I just had this gut feeling that she was talking to me while she was in the bathroom blasting music. One song that I remember in particular, I don't know if y'all know this song, but Give You Hell by All American, I think it's, let me see, All American Rejects. I think that song, it's a very popular hate song, and she used to play that all the time. And it was like kind of a trend for her. She would just play these hate songs clearly so I can be able to hear them. So I felt like they were clearly meant for me. I was like, oh my goodness, this girl, she has issues, but... And so this will be a regular thing. This will be like, she'll do this every other day. Like, I felt like this was intended for me. And what really pissed me off about this is the fact that she had shared to me last year, and she had shared to people that I know, that she has sensory issues and she fears sounds. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this in my last video, but she has this thing like phobia or something about sounds, or fear sounds, sensory issues, so she can't handle too much noise, which really is very hypocritical to me, because it's like, you're playing music. Like, doesn't that bother you if you play music to the point is that loud where it's affecting other people, wouldn't that noise bother you too? So you're essentially saying that you can be the only person who's making noise, but everyone else is just like, is nonsense. The noise they make is nonsense. But I just let it go. Being the person I am, I just kind of just let it go. But it was just really weird. Like I said, she'll come in the bathroom right after me, and I noticed that she would catch an attitude right after I leave the bathroom. I didn't know why. So one day, it got really intense to me. My emotions got to me. I didn't cry. I was just really angry at this point. And I went to the bathroom and I did my business. And what I would normally do before I sit down on the toilet, I got a habit of doing this because one time I noticed that there were like period blood on the seat. And I know her roommate isn't there because her roommate was sick, obviously. And I know that was hers. And I didn't even mention it to her. I just wiped off the seat with a Lysol, and that's something I would do on a daily basis because I felt like she was just being nasty. And the only person who was cleaning this bathroom was me. So it was just like, and I didn't even mention that to my supervisor. So she was being kind of dirty. And there would be like dirty pads like in my trash can, like in the trash can in there, like no one really cleaned it out, and it was just like ugh. Like it was just a lot that was going on, and I had to end up cleaning after someone. But I was really getting sick of it because it was like, you giving me this level of disrespect, and I'm cleaning up after you. So it got to the point where I even started to use my own tissue. I didn't even put tissue in there anymore. I just took my tissue to the bathroom. So one day, she was repeatedly playing loud music, as always. Like I said, that didn't bother me. But I went into the bathroom one day. I don't know if her TV was turned up loud. I think her TV was turned up loud and she was watching something on her TV. But I went and used the bathroom, and I normally wipe the seat off with Lysol. So when I did that, I sat on the toilet, did my business, and left. And then as soon as I did that, I heard her come into the bathroom, and then I heard her catch an attitude, like smacking her teeth and stuff, and she slammed the door. That was my last straw for me. Like, I was really pissed. So what I did, I left my room. I went down to the lobby, and I called someone. Like, I called the GA on duty and let this person know that this and this has been going on and nothing has been resolved, and this girl is ticking me off. I'm mad. I'm sitting in the lobby, and he's like, okay, we're gonna come out and come and see you. So he comes out. I wait for him in the lobby. He comes out, he talks to me, and he's like, so what's up? And I let him know everything that had happened and how there hasn't been a conversation yet between us. And he said, okay, well, I'm going to just go talk to her and see what's up, and then come back down to you and let you know what she said. So I'm sitting in the lobby about a good 15 to 20 minutes waiting for the GA to come down and let me know what she said. He come down and he lets me know, and he's like, yeah, so what really ticked her off not too long ago is that she noticed that you have air freshener that you use to spray in the bathroom. She said that smell ticks her off, and also the Lysol. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. So the smell just kind of irritates her a little bit, and he did tell me an alternative or something that I could use. I was like, why didn't she tell me, or something like that? Why didn't she just like leave a note or knock on my door and let me know that that was bothering her? Because I did that on a daily basis, like I said. And then he was like, I don't know, he felt like it was like a power dynamic thing that she was afraid of, essentially telling me that she might have been scared of me. And I think he did tell me that she was scared of me. And I said, well, when are we going to have this conversation? And he was like, well, she said that she didn't want to talk to me by myself. She wanted to get her roommate involved to be there and be present while we had that conversation. And I'm like, her roommate has nothing to do with this. I have nothing against her roommate. This conversation needs to be with her, Lily, And it was just like, and he said, well, it feels like she like has this power dynamic issue because you is a RA, you have this authority over her. And I'm like, no, like, Oh yeah, so what really ticked me off about the whole situation too is that the fact that I really appreciate my GA and my supervisor just trying to remind me that this this issue shouldn't be as big as I'm making it, or like trying to tell me that I'm better than this. But I kind of felt like they were trying to be very dismissive about my feelings and stuff like that, because it's not like they were living with her, but I was living with them. So housing, like I felt like housing just wasn't doing enough for me. So they were basically just telling me how, like, well, Quadeja, you have these skills and the training on how to negotiate and communicate with people, whereas she doesn't have that. Well, you know how her ADHD and her sensory issues can trigger one thing and trigger another. So you have to be understanding about that. I'm like, I clearly understand that, but if she has these issues, why not come and confront me about them? Like, we're adults here. Like, let's have this conversation. Because how am I supposed to know what you don't like and what you do like if you don't want to reach out and talk to me? If you don't want to talk to me in person, you could at least send me an email or put a note on the door, like, you know? So yeah, that happened, and then he was like, okay, well, we'll make sure there be a conversation going on. I was like, yes, thank you. She did apologize for the first incident that happened about her interrupting me and stuff like that, and said she just honestly didn't know that I was in the middle of doing my job and stuff. So I appreciate her for apologizing for that, but it would have meant something if she would have just told me that in person. So months flew by and still there wasn't no communication whatsoever. I guess she just didn't want to talk to me or whatever. So I was just like, let's just let this go. A new year's about to come, so maybe if we just go home and just spend some time with our family, this, maybe things would just die down. And it was kind of a relief to just be home and be with families after dealing with that. And I really was thinking that she would at least move out with everything that's going on, because I was in the middle of thinking about even quitting my job because of what mental distress she was causing me. But I was like, no, I need to get paid. So I'm not moving. The only person who's moving, it has to be her. So I thought she was honestly going to move, but when I found out she didn't, I was like, oh no, we're going to be dealing with the same issues. I hope this girl don't be doing this to me now. So next semester comes in, we're moving in, everyone's moving in for spring semester. And I came back and I noticed that she was still there. And I'm like, girl, after everything we've been through, wouldn't you want to just stay home? And at the time, there were like this prorate like funding going on where residents will get refunded if they decided to just, stay home for the spring semester. So her roommate came back, but she decided that she wanted to stay home for the spring semester. So essentially the same thing was happening again. She was playing her loud music and stuff, the same repeated stuff. And I got fed up. I really did got fed up, and I ended up calling people again. It got to the point where my mother got involved because I was letting my mom know what was going on. My mom sent a very thorough and passive aggressive email to housing, and housing finally did something about it. And they moved her. I guess when she found that she had to move, she got really upset about it, because during this moving out process, and her packing up her belongings, she was essentially throwing a tantrum. She was playing loud music. Her TV was loud. She was doing this after quiet hours. It got to the point where another RA had to get involved. And one of my residents contacted me because he was pissed about the noise. And I got screenshots of what he said. Okay, so he basically said, hey, Quadeja, I'm sure you can hear blah, blah, blasting music on her TV. So I know that you're also experiencing the same thing we are. But she is also banging on our share wall. And last semester we had the same issue, banging. And she talked to her, and we talked to her about it, and nothing has changed. So is there anything that you can do about this? It's getting out of control and making our room very chaotic. Y'all, when I heard this, it was like such a relief to know that I wasn't going through the same thing. So I responded back to them. I said she also been causing me troubles all year long too, to the point where my mental health has been affected. And I said I'll definitely take care of this. So I did reach out to another RA, and the RA got involved. And the resident that I was talking to was essentially just telling me that, you know, just to take care of myself, don't let this bother me. He was just being supportive and telling me that, like, I'm here if you ever need someone to talk to. And then I also learned that she was talking to me, to those guys and stuff like that, calling me, cussing me out to them, basically using poor choice of words, which was really like, oh my goodness, like, she really said this thing about me. I'm like, wow. And I shared some poor choice of words too that I shouldn't have shared about her, and I don't want to share it on here, but like, it got pretty intense, y'all. It got pretty intense. So Lily had moved out of her room, you know, and I got a bathroom and stuff to myself. Maya, she ultimately decided to stay at home, so she came back and got the rest of her belongings because she left them there. When Maya came back, she asked for help. I asked her if she needed help with moving out, and I helped her, and Maya spilled the tea about everything that she was dealing with that girl, because I honestly thought Maya stayed home because of what happened to us. No, Maya said she stayed home because she was getting sick, and she was getting sick of Lily. And I said, what? And she was like, yeah, I've been having a lot of issues with Lily. And I said, I had no clue. And she said, yeah, I had no clue that you were dealing with some issues with her as well. And she basically spilled the tea about what was going on between her and Lily. And this is basically what she said. She noticed that Lily didn't have many friends, so she offered Lily if she wanted to go, like, hang out with her, have dinner with some of her friends. So she said that Lily had ended up putting earplugs in while they were having dinner, and while they were just talking in the middle of nowhere and eating, which she found that really disrespectful, which it is really disrespectful. She also said that she was making comments about her smacking and eating in the room. She said that she was being very paranoid. She noticed that she was banging on that shared wall that the guys that she was playing every now and then, trying to make comments about how loud they were when they were, like, you can barely hear a pin drop in the middle of the night, like, you know. Maya said that there were moments where she has been woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and one of those things just so happens to be a TV. She took it without her permission and stuff. She did say that if she did take it, she had to pay for it, and she didn't even pay the girl for the TV, but well, actually she did end up paying her for that TV, but what she did, she was being very aggressive about it, basically throwing the money in her hand. But this girl really did a lot of damage to everyone that was around her, and she made it a toxic environment for everyone. I don't know, I felt like this story time was a little jambled and rambled, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far to the video, I know it's long. Thank you for watching. If you haven't watched part 1, please watch part 1 so you could get the backstory of everything that happened. It just felt really relieved to just not have her in my room anymore, to have a room to myself, have a bathroom to myself. And it was like, the housing did apologize. My supervisor did apologize for everything that was going on. But it was like, the damage had already been done. And it could have gotten worse if she would have stayed there. Like, you know, it got to the point where I thought I had to get physical with this girl. Okay, that was a lot of talking, y'all. Too much talking, but my tongue is dry. Ooh. This girl, y'all, this girl. Like I said, if you ever find out who this girl is, please do not go on her social media. cuss her out of any sort or damage her. I really do think she's a sweet girl. And if this girl, Lily, I know that's not your real name, you know that. If you just so happen to run against this video and see this, I just want to say that I already forgave you for everything that has happened. I know it wasn't no ill intention against it. I just know that we're just not compatible with living with each other. With that being said, I'm gonna end it on that note. Please subscribe, give this video a like if you love my story time. And also leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Have you dealt with similar issues? Do you think I took it too far? Do you think this went on for too long? Do you think housing has a responsibility for what happened? I don't know, but thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye guys. Bye.